Welcome to the Instagram stories for Monday, November 8th. A lot of things to get into. Let's start with some meta news. I said before that I was going to start doing more meta news, and let's test out that theory. The New York Times is reporting that Meta has discussed opening retail stores that will eventually span the world. The stores would be used to introduce people to devices made by the company's Reality Labs division, such as virtual reality headsets and eventually augmented reality glasses. Obviously, the goal here is to guide users toward getting into the metaverse. Some of these tools will be small and portable, but for instance, if you want to do perhaps a full body scan to create some kind of avatar, you're unlikely to have those sorts of tools in your house. So it makes sense that Facebook, Meta, would have a place where you could get that full body scan, and that's potentially what we'd be talking about for the future. Okay, let's get into Mosseri Monday, where we discuss what head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, shared in his Ask Me Anything on Friday. Some great questions, as always. This week, he answered a bunch of questions about stories. And interestingly, if you noticed in the audio clip that I shared on Friday, he talked about how the amount of viewership for stories has surpassed the viewership for what's in feed. First question. Should you always share your feed posts to stories to increase engagement? I've mentioned before, this is a challenging topic. If you got more viewership on your feed, you wouldn't have to share it to your story. That's always the problem. Here's his answer.
I wouldn't say you always should, but if you have something you want as many people to see as possible, then yeah, it's good practice. You just have to think about what your followers would want. And sometimes people use stories as more behind the scenes. Sometimes they just use it to reach everyone all the time.
I'm not really aware of any downsides to sharing the feed post to your story, except your followers might think, I already saw this. That's the only potential downside I could see. Next question. How do I get in on this Add Yours sticker? If you haven't heard me talk about it much yet, I love the Add Yours sticker. Here's his answer.
To see the Add Yours sticker, you just go to the sticker tray, so that little sticker at the top. If you're not seeing it, just make sure you're on the latest version of Instagram. And if you still don't see it, let me know.
Definitely mess around with the Add Yours sticker, see how other people are using it, build off their ideas. You can absolutely come up with something extremely creative and extremely cool. Next question. How do you increase your viewership in stories? That is a very important question.
There's no one silver bullet, but a few things to consider. One, check out when your followers actually use Instagram. You can see that in your insights, and post before they come online. And the other is use interactive stickers. Give people a reason to engage with the story, which will help it in ranking.
Stories have to be good for people to want to watch it. I do have to say that is one downside of sharing your feed posts to your story, is that if it's not exciting and engaging, don't bother doing it. Your story should really be impactful, not just a place to store disposable throwaway content you don't care about that much. Next question. Why are story viewers so fickle? Maybe this person got burned by their followers. I don't know. Here's the answer.
Generally, reach is going to be inconsistent. People blame ranking a lot, and we do make ranking changes, but it's usually that there's other things going on. People are posting things, there's more competition, people's interests change. So focus more on long-term trends and don't worry too much about any one story.
Next, he talks about a feature of Instagram that you might have forgotten about or didn't know exist called Archive. If you don't want to see pictures on your profile page anymore, you want them to be gone so other people can't see them, you have the option of one or the other. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? It's all in how you use it. Here's his answer.
I mean, it depends what you're trying to do. For me, I like to archive things so I can find them later if I want to for some reason, as opposed to deleting them entirely. But, some people just want things to be totally gone. In that case, delete.
I'm a big fan of backing up every single thing that you have, whether it was on Instagram or not, into the cloud, whether you use iCloud or Google Photos. Make sure that everything is safe and it's somewhere that you can access it later, and it's not tied to any one specific social media platform. That's my opinion. That's how I do things. Okay, that's going to do it for today's show. Come back tomorrow for more Instagram news, strategy, tips, and more.
I'm not yet a member of the Instagram team, but my podcast covers many Instagram themes. But the name, image, logos are trademarks of Instagram and the LCC in the USA and every territory. Everything I publish independently. Until they let me run my team and start to pay my salary. Not sponsored or endorsed, no lies, no fallacy. I use their logo with permission, not malicious or callously. No trademark violation, filling all criteria. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Daniel Hill Media.